Hello, my lovelies. I'm Carolyn from Eternal Soul Awakening. Happy Monday. I really hope that you guys enjoy this Monday message. What people think of as stability in your job in the capitalistic system that we have right now, meaning corporate America, is an illusion. That isn't actually stability in the ways that we are meaning it, because it can't be stability. If you're in a job that's toxic, that's kind of killing you from the inside out, how is that stability? Like you're dealing with this toxic environment because you feel like you have to, and that can never be stability. It's an illusion. It's I'm getting a steady paycheck, so I've told myself that that is stability. Because the alternative is, yes, I'll have my peace, but for so long because I'm not getting a steady paycheck. But what are you giving up to have that steady paycheck? And does that steady paycheck actually give you all of the financial stability that you that you truly need? Or do you need more than that? Is there a way for you to grow and to gain more quickly and easily? Um, and the other thing is that capitalism itself is like a made up construct by humanity. And it's fully possible that it could collapse at any moment. And I'm not just talking about the current situation that we're in. I'm just saying, generally speaking, it's a system that's being propped up by everybody agreeing to it. So if enough people say, no, thank you, I'm not going to do that, it isn't going to last. Um, Capitalism itself, I don't think is the problem. It's the concept of corporate America that is the problem that gives false sense of security. So she's taking big chunks out of her wellness by staying where she's at. When you have a job and you start out in that job, and I feel like she has this experience where she'll start out at a job, it's great. Like it's really great for like 6 months, even a year, like the best job. Like she's probably like, oh, thank God, finally I found a place that like really jives with me. This is gonna be it. I can be here for 20 years. The the case that that's true ended in like 1975. Like that was no longer true once we got into the 80s and corporate America turned into something else, like a snake eating itself, sort of. um, so basically, what's happening is that spirit is giving her the indication that it's time for her to move. She doesn't think that starting a new job over and over again is stable. Why? Why do you have to stay at one job for a long period of time? I mean, she could continue to switch jobs and have that better experience. Like for 6 months to a year, this job feels great. And then as soon as it stops feeling great, I'm going to go to something else because that's teaching the universe that I have boundaries. I'm not going to stand for anything. Now, I know that there are companies out there who are far less toxic and even some that are not toxic at all with their employees. It's very hard to get into those companies because nobody leaves. But it doesn't mean that it's impossible, right? Because if you're going, think of it as dating. If you go on dates and you just settle for the first one that's like decent, but they have like a lot of stuff that like really rubs you the wrong way, but you're like, I can overlook that, it's fine. A year or two into that relationship, the stuff that you were like, I can overlook that, it's fine, is now the biggest, most intense thing that's like right in front of your face and you can't stop seeing it. All the stuff that you loved about them before is like unnoticeable now. And all you can see is that they keep doing this shit that you hate, right? And now you're miserable. So if you instead were to date, and when somebody showed you indicators of stuff that you know that you can't stand, and I'm not talking about giving them the benefit of the doubt or saying like, oh, they have a few bad habits that like I know that we could work on. It's not that big of a deal. It's not even that big of a deal to them or whatever. Superficial things. I'm talking about like core things. They're bad with money. Oh, that's okay. I'll handle the finances. No, that's going to suck after a while. Like you're going to hate that, you know? And the same thing can be said about a job. People don't see jobs that way. People see jobs as I'm going to start this because I know how to do it and I'm just going to stick with it until I die. Well, what kind of dying do you mean? Do you mean physically in your body or do you mean in your soul? Because the soul dying is going to happen way faster. And that's the point that she keeps going past. Her soul is like, nah, I'm good now. I don't want this. Because something has changed. Something has changed in the company culture. Something has changed in her position. Maybe her leadership is different now, right? And she's not allowing herself to say, hey, that has changed. This isn't what I signed up for. I'm not going to do this anymore. And then say, okay, I'm going to look for a new job. Spirit, show me where my new job is. People that do that are looked down upon by other people saying, oh, you can't hold down a job. That means that you're not stable. It literally doesn't mean that. It means that my well-being is worth more than needlessly staying at a job so that it appears that I am stable. It literally doesn't matter. It means that you're discerning. You're not going to put up with anything. And if you're in an interview and a company is like, oh, I see that you jump around all the time and you're constantly getting new jobs. And your answer is, yeah, when I start the job, it's what I wanted. And then usually something changes that I didn't sign up for. So then I decide to change my job. If the company is like, ooh, that's not good for us because they know how toxic they are, guess what? They just X themselves out from your list that you wouldn't have wanted anyway, because eventually they would be toxic too. What you want is you want an employer that's going to hear that and say, oh, wow, I know exactly what you're talking about. That's a horrible experience. I'm sorry you had to go through that. But here at this company, we don't do that. We have very loyal people. We have people that have not decided to move on for a very long period of time because we do this with our employees and blah, 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 blah. And you do your research and you know that it's true, right? It's about the boundaries, right? And Spirit is trying to teach her and other people like her to not settle for trash. Don't settle for trash in a romantic relationship or in your career, because your job is what you do the majority of your life. Do you really want to do something soul-sucking for the rest of your life? No. But if you tell yourself that you have to because it's what's stable, then you're going to agree to things that you would not normally. The same thing for a relationship. If you tell yourself, well, there aren't that many options out there, and this guy probably is better than most, right? You're starting to see a lot more of this red pill stuff, and you're like, well, at least he's not like that. But like, he's still not good enough for you, though. The one that's good enough for you is out there, and you're not even giving yourself a chance to find it. Your career is the same way. And if she continues to feel this and has to change her jobs over and over and over again, it probably does mean that she's more entrepreneurial. And so she just has to shift her perspective about it. And the thing is that people trust the corporation more than they trust themselves. Oh, the corporations know what to do because they're such a big company and they know how to make business. No, what they know how to do is control and subjugate people for their gain. And the reason that you feel like they know how to do it more so than you, because you wouldn't do that. So you're like, I can't be in competition with a big corporation because I'm not a shady person. This is on a subconscious level, you know this. So you're like, all I can do is be an employee because I can never be a shark in this sea of fish. I'm a guppy. I'm always a guppy. But you know what? The guppy could win. The guppy could win in a smaller lake. You know, get yourself out of the ocean, go into a lake, and you'll be fine there. There's plenty of money over in the lake. You know, if your perspective is, I don't know how to get the amount of customers that a corporation could get so that I could be successful, you do not need that. All you need is a handful of people consistently to be successful. That could eventually grow if that's what you're wanting. The other aspect is like maybe she doesn't want to have to advertise herself. Maybe I'm shy and I don't really want to have to like do that kind of thing because it makes me really uncomfortable. There's different forms of entrepreneurialism that you can do. You don't necessarily have to do the part where you like need to be in social media. There's all kinds of things that you can do. I mean, like even what's that word? Freelancing is entrepreneurial too. And you don't really have to advertise yourself in social media. It would be more like to companies. And I think maybe that might be a little bit easier. Depends on what she wants to do. But if she's not willing to break free of the corporate America for stability, then what's the point in her looking to see what would satisfy her soul if she's not going to do it? But looking to see what might satisfy her soul might be the fuel that she needs to get herself to leave, right? If she starts contemplating about if money was no object, what would you do? Like, what would you do with yourself if you never had to work a day in your life? And everybody says, oh, I'd go on vacation for a long time. Okay, but you'll be bored. So once you get bored on vacation, then what are you doing? What are you filling your time with? That's your job. Do that. And then they come up with excuses. Oh, I can't make that a job. That won't be successful. I don't see anybody doing that anywhere. Okay, have you looked? Have you really looked? Have you looked to see if anybody's successful doing that? Also, some of the people that try to do that, do they actually have skill in that like you do? You know what I'm saying? Like you have to look at this with the proper perspective. But corporate America doesn't want people to do that because they need their little worker bees. I would say that if she's afraid of entrepreneurialism, then I think that she has a false belief system about it and she needs to do some research around it. She needs to really dive into it and see what it entails because I think she would be shocked at how easy it can be. We always complicate things in our minds, especially things that we really actually want. She could make her own schedule. She could work as much as she wanted to work. If she's doing something that she really loves to do, the work that she's going to be doing won't feel like work. And then at that point, she has to deal with the guilt of that. But that's a whole nother thing. The only stability that you have in this world is your alignment. And alignment comes from knowing yourself and what you truly want. And as long as you're pursuing your actual desires, not the things that you think you should want, not the things you're supposed to want. That's the other thing. Corporate America really makes people think that they need a big house, that they need all this furniture, that they need all these electronics. Do you really? Right? Can you list me 3 electronics that are in your home that you'd never use? So you don't need all that stuff. Can you list me 5 pieces of furniture that you never touch or look at? You don't need all that stuff. What you do in this world, what you choose to spend your time on, and we say spend because it is a resource, it's an actual resource. The time that we have on this planet is finite. We will be done at some point. So where you spend your time is valuable, and you're just going to give it away to a corporate vampire, all in the name of what you think is security. You could shift your perspective and see that there's a better way. And it's not something where you have to drop everything right now and run away and be an entrepreneur. Because for somebody that's that set in their idea of security, I would really encourage her or anybody like her to make a considerable effort into working on a hobby or something that you can create in this world that brings you joy, that brings you satisfaction. The more you do it, the more you have confidence that you're good at it. The more that you have confidence that you're good at it, the more it's going to be obvious how you can make that a business. So this is over stages, right? And once you start doing that, everything in your body is going to start lighting up and saying, we're in alignment because that's the direction of alignment, doing things that make us happy and not doing things that make us sad. So it's going to be more and more obvious that this is what you should be doing. All you have to do at that point is trust in your own capabilities. And we're taught in our current society not to trust ourselves. It is drilled into us from every angle. So learning how to trust yourself is the job. If you're going to be an entrepreneur, you have to learn, study, and master trusting yourself. And that's it. Everything else is surface after that. Because I would be very I feel like it's a pretty good guess that she and other people like her don't actually trust themselves with most things. And they're constantly looking outside of themselves for how to make decisions. So you start with deciding what hobby you want to do, and it's okay if you don't stick with it. Eventually, you're going to find something that really fits. You have to be willing to start something and drop it. So attachment is also another problem. And that's why they like these quote stable jobs, because they feel as though, well, I can't stick with anything. I don't know how to stick with anything. What all that indicates is that you're discerning. All that indicates is that you want a bunch of different things. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, there's plenty of people that are entrepreneurial around how they feel connected to something and then want to drop it right away. It means, okay, I'm selling this for right now. Now I'm going to go and sell this, and then I'm going to go sell that. And people create entire companies around that. It's like exclusive and selective, and it's like special somehow, right? So you can't any way that you behave, whatever your true habits are, they're there for a reason, and there's a good way for you to utilize those to make your game of life happier and more successful. But if you're stuck in corporate America, you're never going to see it. You're going to waste away there. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you are interested in private readings, you can visit eternalsoulawakening.com.